How's it going, everybody? You're going to do another episode of On the Clock. Put 12 minutes on the timer. Here we go. 10 questions. First question. Why do we say no to the majority of fashion brands reaching out to us? This one's tough because some of the biggest customers we've ever had have been in the textile world, not necessarily fashion, but textile. The problem is that most people who want to start a business, the first thing they say is, I'm going to start my own line of clothes. Right? And that's great, but we're not the right fit, right? We make complex products. Even the textiles we make, one of them is called Cub Coats. It turns from a hoodie into a stuffed animal, right? It's complex. It took a long time to engineer. It's not really what we do, right? And you're going to be able to find a much cheaper option really anywhere. And because usually fashion brands are, I want to make some hats, I want to make some shirts, your best bet is to find someone who does just that. You'll get a better price. That's basically why. Number 2, what are the most unexpected pros and cons about living in China as a foreigner? Unexpected. I don't know. I don't know what's expected when I got here. It was a while back. But one of my favorite things here is the food, right? I love I think back home growing up, I would have thought of Chinese food as what is more like Hong Kong cuisine, right? Like fried chicken balls, that type of stuff. Lemon chicken. And while that does exist here, Chinese food, there's tons of provinces with tons of different styles. I like spicy food, so Sichuanese food is awesome for me. That's probably my favorite thing. The biggest con is, this is getting boring, but COVID, right? Being a foreigner in China is not super easy. It's not very easy to travel within the country. It's fine, but to leave and come back is not easy. That's definitely my biggest con at the moment. Number 3, why are tabletop board games projects some of the most profitable and easiest businesses to start? There's not a lot of overhead, right? There's not a lot of cost to start those businesses. Whereas if you're making a phone or a chessboard, right, you need toolings and you need molds, and there's a lot of upfront what is called NRE, non-reoccurring engineering fees. With the tabletop game, whether it be a deck of cards or a board with a few tokens, right, it's very cost effective for starting a business. And it's very popular in Kickstarter and the rest of the crowdfunding world too. People like having fun. People like playing games. Obviously, the challenge is being creative, coming up with creative game with good strategy that people will like, and the branding, aesthetics, and then the community building as well, right? Those games go off because people like them and the communities are huge before the campaigns are even launched. Next question. What are the cost complexity differences between using virgin plastic versus recycled plastic? This has been a tough one for me because, I'm Canadian. That just should say that I'm environmentally friendly. And that's something that our business wants to do. The problem, a lot of people want to do it. The problem is it's very expensive, like significantly more expensive. And so a lot of people go down that road with that intention. But then they don't finish, right? Because it's too expensive. I think with time and as technologies are developed, the cost will continue to come down. We had one customer, I won't say his name, but you know who you are. To me, was just virtue signaling, right? Saying that he was using recycled plastic, but he was shipping the recycled plastic from him to us over in a freight liner, like in a boat. We're making it and then sending it back, all to save the environment? Huh? Right? That doesn't make sense. It makes no sense. So if you can afford it, you should do it, right? As the technology gets better, the price will come down. But right now it's kind of a line in the sand that a lot of people can't afford. Next question. What region area in China is best to manufacture an electronics product? Right here in Guangdong in the PRD. It's called the Pearl River Delta. It's Guangzhou, Shenzhen, and Dongguan, a triangle around the Pearl River. There's, thousands upon thousands of factories within, a couple hour radius from our office. And, all the big brands. I mean, there's obviously exceptions, but the majority of big tech brands get manufactured in this area. Next question. Which notable CEOs do you relate to the most and why? Well, my favorite CEOs, my favorite, business leaders, I liked Richard Branson since I was a kid. I always thought he was, cool before it was cool to be a CEO. I don't think he's as attention grabbing as Musk. I think, he really hustled as a kid. His books and his stories are very inspirational and built up this huge empire all based on that hustling, right? I think he's definitely one of my heroes. I've always liked Warren Buffett. He's very consistent, right? He does this. He's just Warren Buffett all the time. And to me, that's, a big thing that makes or breaks people is when times are tough, do you keep being consistent, right? And that's something that I aspire, or at least always hope that I can be consistent with the effort that I put forth. And then last is probably not really a CEO, but Peter Thiel was one of the first investors in Facebook. He wrote the book 0 to 1, which is probably my favorite business book ever. So yeah, those are three guys that are, are big examples to me and people that I listen to most of what they say. Next, what are the most effective tools you use to stay organized? I am not an organized person, so my assistant. that's basically it. I use Evernote, but other than that, yeah, just my assistant, and that's about it. What is the fastest you've taken a client from onboarding to MP? Well, back in the day, we didn't really have an onboarding phase, and we were a little bit, we were just hungrier for business, right? We didn't have the team that we have today. We didn't have the qualifications we have today. We didn't have the portfolio we have today. So it was a lot harder to get clients. But two that kind of just jumped out. I had one client early days. They were a brand called Minimalist Watch, right when I started the company. They launched a Kickstarter campaign. They made a bunch of money. And we had gone to the same university. So I reached out to them. I'm like, I can make it for you guys. Do you want me to make it? Basically said yes and gave me the deposit for mass production. And it all turned out great. It was kind of funny because most people, weren't even willing to give me sample fees. And then all of a sudden I had an order. Another time I had a guy spent, I think $250,000, this is a little later on, obviously, on development and design of his product after he raised, I think, 1.3 million on Indiegogo. And he came to us with this Silicon Valley design and said, look at this amazing design, can you manufacture this for me? And I'm no engineer, I've taken some YouTube classes, but that's about it. But even I could tell that what I was looking at, although it be very aesthetically pleasing, it was trash, right? We couldn't even make it. I couldn't even show it to anybody. They wouldn't even know what it was, right? And so, we obviously charged a fraction of that compared to this Silicon Valley company, but we got it done really quick. We got them to CES in time, and it turned out to be all right. So those are the two, I think, where I've seen the company move the fastest. Now, just to add on to that, I think it's more important to be prepared and take your time, right? You shouldn't want to rush. Things will go wrong. Manufacturing, like any industry, has its complexities. And if you prepare for a smooth, quick ride, it's just not going to happen, right? You have to prepare for bumps. You have to prepare for delays. Obviously, working with a company like Morpho, right? A little biased again, but you're going to avoid a lot of those problems. That's what we do. But the world's not perfect. And, you should prepare and plan for, well, you can believe in the timelines we're saying. Let's just put it that way. Next up, what are some of the biggest challenges when shipping to more obscure places in the world? So I remember one of my first clients, there's a video on YouTube actually, was my uncle. And He had a partner in Ghana that they were trying to build a rock quarry, right? So they needed a bunch of cement. I went out to the factory. I filled up this container. It was probably, well, it's 50-pound bags, filled up an entire 20-foot container. And it might have been a 40-foot container now that I think of it. But it was just me and one other guy loading these bags. It took all day. It was crazy. It's like the craziest workout I've ever had in my life. And so then it gets on the ship. We're all waiting. It arrives in Accra, or I forget what the port is. But the customs agent opened it up and they go, nope, it's all in Chinese. No one told me that, right? And so I think the lesson that you can learn is every place has different rules for customs, duties, costs, charges, what you can do, what you can't do. While we're not a shipping company, we obviously have shipped stuff all over the world and can provide good insight. But do your own research, make sure you understand the processes, work with good companies, work with specialists, and you can ship anything you want to anywhere in the world. All right, that's another episode on the clock. Less than a minute to go, just barely made it. Peace.